know why the YouTube. Maybe is there like a fairly decent delay on YouTube? I don't know if I ever really noticed that with chat. I don't know if I ever really noticed that with chat too much, but whenever I actually click start streaming, the time that it takes to it usually takes a decent amount of time to get started on YouTube for some reason. I don't know why that is. Oh well, it doesn't really matter. How's everybody going? Or how's everybody going? How's everyone doing today? How is it going? All right, so real quick, before we start doing stuff, hold up, I'm trying to. There we go. That kind of works. Sorry for the absolute silence right now. I'm trying to get stuff set up properly because I wanted to read this real quick before we got into debating anyone. Is my face red as fuck right now? It looks like it is. My face is so fucking red. I just got out of the shower. That's why. It's hot as hell. I wonder if I should not keep that up because you can't really read chat above my head. Well, you can't really read chat with this up either. I suppose if I keep this up, but then I do this, if I keep a nothing page up for now, there we go. If I just keep a nothing page up on Obsidian right now, you can see that. Okay, cool. Let's go live on TikTok. Yeah, sorry for the silence and the delay and the nothing going on right now. Just wanted to get that up. All right. Before we really get into anything too much today, before I let anybody up to debate or anything like that, I wanted to read this. Apparently, I wonder, hold on, is this, I guess for one, is this real? Yeah. Okay, this Truth Social post from Trump. He says, I was just informed that our country's jobs numbers are being produced by a Biden appointee, Dr. Erica McEntarfer? I don't know. I guess that's how it's pronounced. Dr. Erica McEntarfer, the commissioner of labor statistics, who faked the jobs numbers before the election to try and boost Kamala's chances of victory. This is the same Bureau of Labor Statistics that overstated the jobs growth in March 2024 by approximately 818,000. And then again, right before the 2024 presidential election in August and September by 112,000. These were records. No one could be that wrong. We need accurate jobs numbers. I've directed my team to fire this Biden political appointee immediately. She will be replaced with someone much more competent and qualified. Important numbers like this must be fair and accurate. They can't be manipulated for political purposes. McEntarfer said there were only 73,000 jobs added. But more importantly, that a major mistake was made by them. 258,000 jobs downward in the prior 2 months. Similar things happened in the first part of the year, always to the negative. The economy is booming under Trump, despite a Fed that also plays games, this time with interest rates, where they lowered them twice, and substantially just before the presidential election. I assume in the hopes of getting Kamala elected. How did that work out? Jerome Too Late Powell should also be put out to pasture. Wild behavior. So there's a few things here. My Twitch, I just realized my my Twitch title is still the same as it was for a couple days ago. From a couple days ago. I don't care. I'm not changing it right now. A couple things here. It is funny that he has a complaint about the behavior. There's a complaint about the behavior of this woman, the commissioner of labor statistics, right? There's a complaint about the behavior from the end of the Biden presidency, and then a complaint about what just happened with the jobs numbers. But the same thing happened, but he frames it in two different ways, which is hilarious. So they overestimated jobs numbers at the or at the end of the Biden presidency, and then later came out with a correction and said like, hey, we were wrong about the numbers, a month or two ago. These are the real numbers after we've gathered everything, and then that's what happened here, right? So they put out the job numbers for May and June, and then just I think it was today or yesterday, they put out the correction for the previous 2 months and said, actually, it's this, they're lower or whatever. So the same thing occurred, but he frames it in two different ways. Here, it's framed as like the original overestimation was to help Kamala. That was the only reason they overestimated. And then here, they overestimate, or he's saying that they actually were correct the first time, and then the correction is a lie to hurt me, which is, I just think that's funny. But besides that, like besides the argumentative point of being like it's hilarious how you'll take the same exact thing happening and then frame it two different ways in the same post, besides that, this is I don't think I've really gotten the chance to talk to anyone about this yet, because I don't know how many people are thinking about this. This is my biggest fear coming to life right now. This is my literal biggest fear coming to life as we speak. So this post from Trump saying, hey, these new job numbers that make me look bad, they're fake. They're made up by this lady who's just trying to help the Democrats, right? So I'm going to fire her and I'm going to install my own person in that spot. I don't think I've heard anyone talk about this, but I've been like the whole time in the back of my head, I've been like, bro, what if he were to do this? One of the things with Trump is arguing against like Trump's stuff, arguing against his policy, and are just arguing against things he's done generally is pretty easy, because you can just look to like actual metric, like you can just look at metrics, right? Like for the legal stuff, it's actually pretty easy to argue against like stuff he's done, because in a lot of cases his own DOJ lawyers will admit the wrongdoing in court filings. And so you can just point to that and you can be like, well, this is literally like the Abrego Garcia deportation. Great example, right? You can just look to the court filings of them literally saying like, hey, this was an accident. We didn't mean to do this. Like, we understand we fucked up. When it comes to like economic stuff, if we want to say like, Trump's economic policy is terrible, we just like, this would have been a thing. You just point to like, look at the fucking jobs numbers. Look, like we're so far below like job growth targets right now. Because he's a fucking idiot and his economic policy is terrible, right? But now what it looks like he's going to do is he's going to just install, just like he's done with everywhere else, right? The FBI, the DOJ, like look at fucking RFK, Tulsi Gabbard. Like these people are just Trump sycophants. They'll do whatever he wants them to do. They'll say whatever he wants them to say, right? It looks like what's going to happen now is he's going to start installing sycophantic people into the like departments that we get the fucking numbers from. The Commissioner of Labor Statistics. He's going to install a sycophant into this position, the Commissioner of Labor Statistics. So one of the fears that I've had kind of in the back of my head this whole time is, okay, well, he's installed like sycophantic people into every other position. What happens if he just decides to install sycophants into the parts of the government that we get or like our statistics and stuff from? And then they just manipulate the statistics on everything to just be like, oh, actually, Trump added 10 million jobs last month. Actually, what do we do at that point? If all the statistics start being just like sycophantically fake, fuck, dude. Oh, fuck me. Like, what do we do now? So. And then here's like, this is literally him admitting that that's what he wants to do. This is him. He tweeted, Truth. He posted on Truth Social saying like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to install my own people. What do you say? I have directed my team to fire this Biden political appointee immediately. She will be replaced with someone much more competent and qualified. This is Trump language for someone that will do whatever I tell them to do. Oof. So yeah, this might end up being very, 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 very bad. Just all the like, if we start seeing some very fucking wonky statistics coming out in the next couple of quarters, if the next job growth report says that Trump added 10 billion jobs to the economy, don't be surprised. Don't be overly surprised if you see that next. All right. Anyway. all that being said, putting all that aside, where are my Trump supporters in chat that want to come chit chat about stuff? Chad K and Doc Nancy, thank you guys for the heart me's. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Mucho appreciated. Yeah, that was it. That was it. That was all I wanted to cover before we get into debates. Hopefully we can get a couple of debates in before I have to hop off. We probably won't be live for like too long today. I got some family coming into town. So wait, where the fuck is where's my tab for? Did I close the tab by accident? I might have. No, it's right here. Okay. Yeah, I got family coming into town, so I'm gonna have to. We'll end up hopping off a little bit earlier. Do you look at YouTube chat? Yeah, I look at all chats. You need to come on every day. I need some sanity while I'm working, please. Yeah, my schedule is just a little bit like fucking wonky and all over the place at the moment. Once I kind of get that sorted out a little bit better, which should be soon. The consistency should be picking up soonish, okay? I do apologize. My like stream schedule is inconsistent as fuck. I can definitely agree with that. So many apologies on that one. I'm so sorry. LH, thank you for the heart me. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the heart me on TikTok. And my and Sanu, also thank you for the follows. Appreciate you. Hello, sir. Are you a Democrat? I do, in fact, identify as a Democrat. We'll see. Trump supporter here. How do you feel when Republicans say that almost all masculine men are Republicans and all the weak sissy type dudes are Democrats? It seems correct. I mean, it's just objectively stupid, right? I think if you just like get out into the real world a little bit, you'll kind of find yourself, go touch some grass. You'll find yourself kind of realizing that's fucking stupid. Like, for instance, I think like this surprises some people. Like I've said this to like a couple of people now, and they're like always seem to be surprised. But like when I was in the military, like probably like half of the people that I met. Now, given like for the most part, especially like being active duty military, you don't really talk politics too much. But then like sometimes you do. Like probably like it was probably like a good 50-50 split Republican Democrat. Like half the people I met that I had ever had like any kind of political conversations with were leaned right, and then the other half leaned left. It was kind of it was a pretty good cross section. You see 50-50. People are surprised by that. Like what? I thought like everyone in the entire military was Republican. And like to be fair, like maybe well, not maybe, there's almost certainly a leaning. It probably does lean farther right if you took like if you took the whole of like every single military member and like do you identify more closely with Republicans or Democrats? Like it's gonna lean right, that's for sure. But like in my experience, it was a decent cross section. It was. She's so fucking confused right now. You see her face? She's like, why are you staring at me? What the fuck? I was saying, and a majority of them lean left. Really? Yeah, I mean, like, I guess that doesn't necessarily surprise me. Like, like I said, in my experience, is a pretty good cross section. When you watch videos of protests, it's usually weak guys who are the feminists and white BLM supporters. I mean, whatever you say, bud. Whatever you say. That's such like a what's the phrase for it? Self-report? That's such a self-report. That's the I'm terminally online and I've never touched grass in my life self-report. Trump will go down in history as one of the best presidents ever. Just a fact. Did anyone else see this thread? There was a the numbers on this were big, so I feel like a lot of people saw it. Do you know how people like argue with Grok on X. If you're an avid X user, you know how like you'll see a lot of like it's very frequent that you'll see like conservatives try to like at Grok for something to like make a point, and then Grok will Grok will like go the other way with it, and then they get in a fight with the fucking AI. It's hilarious. I saw someone do this one time where someone was like, Trump's a fucking idiot or something, and someone added Grok and was like, Grok, who are the 10 best presidents of all, or like who are the 10, I think he went with worst first, like who are the 10 worst presidents of all time, and it was like number like Trump ended up in like the top 5 for like worst presidents. And then the guy, like the whole thread is just the guy like responding to Grok going like, okay, well how about like 10 worst on the economy, and then it'll say like Trump's like is like the 3rd worst president ever for the economy, and like he just like going down all the issues like, okay, well who's the worst on this, who's the worst on this, and it's just Trump always in the top 10 for like everything. By the end of it, dude was fucking livid. Grok versus MAGA on Reddit. That doesn't. I've never like been to that Reddit thread, but it doesn't surprise me at all. There's just like there probably is a fucking massive Reddit thread of MAGA people fighting Grok. That's hilarious. It's hilarious. Politics is like sports or movies. It's just another form of entertainment that people care too much about. I mean, that's a perspective you can have. I will say, like, especially for TikTok. Now, I don't know so much for other platforms. I feel like the YouTube algorithm is pretty good. Like, it's pretty good at feeding you content that you want. TikTok's algorithm is really fucking good at feeding you content you want. Like, it's disgustingly good. When people do this, will they like come into my chat and be like, oh, this is, it's all pointless. It's all useless anyway. Who cares about this? It's fucking cringe. It's such a self-report. It's such a fucking self-report. Because it's like, TikTok's algorithm will feed you exactly the kind of content that you are interested in. It's a good algorithm. It'll give you what you want to watch or what you like engage with like frequently. And so if you think that this kind of content is terrible, and yet TikTok's algorithm brought you here, you're just fucking lying to me in my own chat. You're a fucking liar. TikTok wouldn't have brought your ass here if you weren't interested in this type of shit. You know what I'm saying? You know who with the heart me. Thank you. I appreciate you. I just realized my my headset wasn't even on. I was like, wait, why did I not hear the little ding for that? There we go. All right. Please don't get a dent in your head. Is that a real thing, by the way? Like, like obviously you get like the dent in your hair, like from just your hair being compressed. I should just get like just use my AirPods. This headset's fucking uncomfortable as fuck. Mainly because it's old and broken. It's old and all sorts of fucked up. I should just wear my AirPods when I stream. There's no reason not to, right? Technically? No, there isn't. I can't think of any logical reason not to. Yeah, I should just do that. It's a solid-ish point. That's a solid point. Because TikTok is so perfect. Come on now. If you don't think that TikTok's algorithm is like good at feeding you the content, like if you don't think if you're like gonna try to tell me with a straight face like, oh, the TikTok algorithm's not even good, like it doesn't even work right. If if your position is anything other than it functions really really well, and it gives you kind of exactly what you want to see to keep you here, that's delusion. Didn't say that? Okay, just making sure. Just making sure. The algorithm's good as fuck. It's strong, bro. It works. TikTok's algorithm is actually pretty. No, it is. It's very functional. It's very functional. What did the guy say the other day? I was talking to a guy the other day, and he like, oh, fuck, okay, I can't even think of. There's a guy the other day that like gave me a recommendation to change my little title thing to, and I can't remember what it was. I wish I did. I would like to. What's going on? How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Andrew. Listen, are you a lawyer? Because
No.
if you are, I have a question. You're not a lawyer. Dang.
Nope.
Okay, it was. Well, I'm not opposition. I'm definitely not a Trumper. But I
Okay.
just had a question about all of these migrants having their windows smashed in and being drug away, because it's my understanding that if you're in the United States of America, then you're under the protection of the Constitution, regardless of whether you're a citizen or not. And
Mhm.
if that's the case, then what they're doing is they're in direct violation of the Fourth Amendment. So I was hoping to talk to a lawyer because there again, I read this stuff, I research this stuff, but it's nice to get a professional opinion once in a while. So
Yeah.
with that said,
I would
you
read.
know,
I would direct you to Pennsylvania versus Mims Supreme Court case. So that's if there was ever like a lawsuit over an ICE agent doing that, that's probably the case they would cite to for their authority to do the if you're specifically like honing in on the whole like busting people's windows and yanking them out of their cars and shit. That's the authority they'll cite to for why they're allowed to do that, and they would be correct in that they are. So Pennsylvania versus Mims is a case basically where the ruling ended up being that if a law enforcement officer orders you out of your car during like a traffic stop, or like if you're in the car and they're trying to investigate a situation, it comes up a lot on traffic stops, right? They'll be like, give me your ID, and then people will just like you see it, people fucking roll their windows up and they're like, no. If the cop orders you out of your car, you have to get out. You have to.
okay, I'm not contesting that. What I'm
Okay.
contesting is the fact that they don't even give the people a choice. They just start busting in windows. Okay.
Um,
They roll down their windows and they start busting in windows and dragging people out.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely a different situation when you if you're law enforcement and you give what is otherwise a lawful order, but you don't give the you don't give the person any meaningful opportunity to comply with the lawful order, then you're getting into legal trouble, or you're getting into like hazy legal ground. And be like, if I said like if I said like you see it in like police body cam videos sometimes where they'll say like get on the ground or something, and the person like doesn't, if they don't drop to the ground within like a millisecond, the police start getting all pissed off about it. Yeah, it's a whole different ballgame when you have to like give them the fucking chance to comply. But yeah,
Exactly. So basically, that was my question. I saw the JD after your name. Oh, finally, I have a lawyer. Oh.
no, I get that
So
conflation a lot.
anyway,
But yeah, I understand.
well, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and drop down. Okay.
Of course, have a
Have
good
a
one.
wonderful day.
You
Bye
too.
bye.
Breaking news: President Trump wants to rename planet Earth to Planet Trump the Nerf. Bro, you know what's? I don't want to give him any ideas. I really don't. I have no interest. I have no interest in giving him any bright ideas. But I can't. I'm actually really surprised Trump hasn't made any sort of effort to rename New Mexico to New America. I'm really surprised he hasn't tried. But not to give him any ideas. But I'm surprised he hasn't tried. Wait, why can't? Where's my tab? There we go. And wait, why is my YouTube chat not loading? That's not normal. YouTube chat's just not loading on my end for some reason. Okay, well, that's weird. Weird. New America, you're reaching? I'm not the one reaching, okay? It would be he would be the one reaching, okay? I'm just saying I'm surprised he hasn't tried it. That's it. I'm just surprised he hasn't tried to do it. Anything that is American that has the name Mexico in it, my intuition would be that it would piss him off. Okay? That's all I'm saying. My intuition is I feel like this would piss the guy off. I'm surprised he hasn't done anything about it or tried to. Not that he would have success there, but attempted to do something about it. Kitchen Chicken, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. Still reaching? Okay. Well, see you later, Mr. Bad Faith Man. I gotta stop being. Oh man. This is probably like a very be careful what you wish for situation, because it probably wouldn't go down this way, and it would probably be bad for me overall. Like on the whole, this would probably be bad for me personally, right? But the reason I say that is because the way TikTok currently operates and works, in terms of like its algorithm, its pay structure, the money, like you can if you're a big TikToker. Now it's different in my situation because I have less than 15,000 followers, small account. But for big, like you can make a lot of fucking money on this platform. So in terms of for creators, this is a really, really good platform for creators. It's not that hard. You can get a lot of views because the algorithm is good. If you make decent content, it will be shown to a lot of people. That's a fact. A lot of people will see it if you make good videos. And then if you get a lot of views, you will make good money. So this platform is incredible for creators, right? It is, truly. But I really hope this shit gets sold to an American company. I do. I hope it gets sold. Because I fucking hate TikTok's terms of service. I do. I hate TikTok's terms of service to a degree I can't describe to you. You know who. Thank you for the 101 fucking roses. Holy shit. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We just blew that. I mean, the rose goal was 100, and you sent 101 in one go. So rose goal absolutely smoked. Fuck it. I guess I'll double it. If we could just insta kill the fucking goal, I guess I'll double it. Thank you so much. You know who. You're the GOAT. I appreciate you. Anyway, I hate the TOS on this fucking platform. Because one of the things it's annoying is one of the things I get from a lot of it's going to be controlled if it were bought by yeah, I know. It's never going to be. This is the reason I opened all this by saying like this is a very be careful what you wish for situation, because I don't know if this would actually be good for me long term. Like I don't think I would get what I want out of this. But I wish that this shit would get bought by an American company like it was supposed to. And like they would reform the TOS and make it less strict, because it's fucking ridiculous how strict the TOS on the stupid platform is. I love this platform, but god damn it, it's too strict on the TOS. I don't like it. It's cringe. Like, it's not good. Okay? Because one of the things that I get a lot of compliments on, like in my video, in the comments on my videos, and people DM me this all the time. And then when I've done like podcasts with other people, people have said this to me. A lot of people have said this to me. That's my point. Is that like, oh, like I really appreciate how nice you are to the people you debate. Like you're very peaceful. It's just a very nice and calm and respectful debate. I get that comment all the fucking time, all the time. But the reason, not the whole reason, but a big part of the reason that is true is because of TikTok's TOS. Is that if I start being really mean to people, there's people I've debated that I think are truly fucking brain dead idiots, and I want to be mean to them. Intrinsically, I want to, but the live will get taken down. It just will. It's a fact. So I want this shit to get bought by an American company, and I want the terms of service to be reformed, and I want it to not be as strict, because I would like to be a little meaner. I would like to not have to be so like peaceful. And like I don't like it. It's not cool. So it'd be cool if that happened. It is refreshing. Hard to find a liberal who can speak without calling names. I'm not talking about like name calling. I'm not gonna be like, you fucking dumb. No, I'm not gonna be like that. The problem is, like, you can't say anything, even like remotely edgy or like you can't say shit on this platform. Your live will get banned like that, bro. It's gone like so quick. I don't like that. Like, and also it like shit's just not as entertaining in that. Like, it's just not as entertaining. If I like, you know what I mean? It's just not as entertaining when you have to like couch everything and like you'd be like super calm all the time, super peaceful all the time. Like, why? Just let me kick it up like 2 notches, just 2 notches. I'm not saying I want to be a fucking psycho and start like name calling and shit. I'm not saying that. Anyway, what's up? How's it going? Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You're a little quiet. Are you like far away from your phone or something? What's going on there?
No, what about now?
No, you're good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, all good. What do you want to talk about?
So the prompt says Trump is destroying the constitutional order.
Yeah.
So I would disagree with that.
Okay. You think would you go like the direct opposite and say like he's protective of the Constitution?
Well, we're a constitutional republic, so the country is set up to protect constitutional rights.
Yeah, okay. I agree with that. I would say the Constitution exists to protect, to protect like intrinsic rights, and then they're just they're codified in the Constitution, or the government like laid out in the Constitution, right? The Constitution ultimately is a restriction on the government.
The government's structured to protect the constitutional rights.
So that brings me back to my question. Like, would you go the direct opposite way and say like that Trump like makes it an effort of his to like clearly like protect constitutional rights of people?
I think presidents in general have to work within the confines of what's constitutionally prohibited or not prohibited, what's constitutionally, acceptable. And then if they say cross a line or they take a position that challenges that, then the system basically um, will run its course, whether they're impeached or Supreme Court has to rule on what they're doing. Um, you know, we have protections put in power to make sure that we don't have a president that's infringing upon constitutional rights.
Sure, I wouldn't disagree with any of that. Like there's systems in place that are supposed to fend off against constitutional violations. That's
Yeah, like
at
you
no
saw.
point has that been my question though. Like I feel like
Okay,
there's an
so
effort
what's
here
your
to not
question?
answer the question.
Well, what's your question?
So I would say my position would be that Trump specifically, very specifically, does not make any effort at all, even when it's obvious, even when like it should be like clear, just like very very clear, just very clear in general. Makes no effort at all to adhere to the Constitution. He just does what he wants to do, and if the Constitution doesn't allow for it, then fuck it.
Well, what do you
But then
mean
my
by that,
question,
though?
but then my question to you, the reason I wanted to flip this back on you is because I really want to see where you're at on this. Do you feel like he does? Do you feel like there's an effort made in his head when he's making some sort of decision? Do you think there's a calculus of like,
Well, I
like
think
maybe this would run afoul of the Constitution or no?
I think we would need specific examples because we're speaking in generalities right now. Is there a specific thing that you're talking about in regards to an action he's taken, a policy, an executive order? Like what specifically are you talking about?
Sure. Let's
Like
say
the Marines in Los Angeles or something like that?
no, that would be. I think you're gonna run into a little bit of like that's not gonna be as much of a constitutional argument as it would be a statutory one.
No, I agree with you. That's why, but a lot of people would conflate those two. That's why I was curious if you understood the statutes that
No,
he
yeah,
used
that's
for that specific case.
yeah, it's gonna be a lot more
So what
statutory than
specifically are you
constitutional.
talking about?
So let's round this out in the example of like his executive orders targeting law firms. Like, do you think he did those with the Constitution in mind, saying like, or do you? Because my position on that would be that he wanted to do that for personal reasons. He had a personal beef, and he wanted to settle it using executive authority. And I think it's pretty fucking clear that, and every single judge that's looked at any of these cases with these law firms has absolutely agreed in full. I think it should be pretty clear to any reasonable person that was going to those actions ran afoul of the Constitution. But my contention would be he just didn't care because he wanted to settle a beef using the power he has as president.
What I actually am not familiar with that specific executive order or those. Is there more than one of those?
There's a series of them, yeah.
It's a series. Like what specifically is the executive order dictating?
Do you want to just read one real quick? How much time do you have? Do you have time to do something like
Sure. I have time.
that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let me pull one up.
Because I would call each item as it is.
Yeah, well, in terms of these, there's a couple of them, but they were all pretty much word for word identical. It was just the only thing that changed between each one was the target. Each time. All right, let's see. I should just have a link to these. Oh wait, fuck. Maybe I do. Hold on. I think I do have a link to them. 1 second. Oh, I do. Nice. Okay, here we go. All right, so here's one. I'll read through this with you. Hold up. Give me 1 second. I can close my door real quick.
Okay.
All right. All right, so I'm gonna read through this offer or through this executive order. It's not like super long, so it shouldn't be too ridiculous. So, Section 1, Actually, I don't know if any of this. This is just the background. I don't know if you care about this.
Well, you can just summarize.
Yeah, here we
what
go.
the
I'm
specifics-
gonna read you like the important lines that I would care about here. So, my administration has already taken action to address some of the significant risks and egregious conduct associated with law firms, and I have determined that similar action is necessary to end government sponsorship of harmful activity by an additional law firm, Paul Weiss. That's just kind of like, to get you in the mindset of what we're looking at here. So here's the prescription. Here's what like this executive order calls for him to do calls for the government to do in terms of this law firm. Okay. Section 2. The Attorney General, the Director of National Intelligence, and all other relevant heads of the of executive departments and agencies shall immediately take steps consistent with applicable law to suspend any active security clearances held by individuals at Paul Weiss, pending a review of whether such clearances are consistent with the national interest. The Office of Management and Budget shall identify all government goods, property, material, and services, including SCI facilities provided for the benefit of Paul Weiss. The heads of all agencies providing such material or services shall, to the extent permitted by law, expeditiously cease such provision. To prevent the transfer of taxpayer dollars to federal contractors whose earnings subsidize, among other things, activities that are not aligned with American interests, including racial discrimination, government contracting agencies shall, to the extent permissible by law, require government contractors to disclose any business they do with Paul Weiss and whether that business is related to the subject of the government contract. The heads of all agencies shall review all contracts with Paul Weiss or entities that disclose doing business with Paul Weiss under subsection A of this section. To the extent permitted by law, the heads of agencies shall take appropriate steps to terminate any contract to the maximum extent permitted by applicable law, including the Federal Acquisition Regulation for which Paul Weiss has been hired to perform any services. Otherwise, align their agency funding decisions with the interests of the citizens of the United States, with the goals and priorities of my administrations as expressed in executive actions, especially Executive Order 14147. Basically, this is a law firm that he has personal beef with. Is
it personal beef?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
One of the
It sounds like there's.
I know what it sounds like. I'll tell you. We'll get into that. Just quickly, one of the former partners at this firm. Now he did retire a little bit before this, but one of the actually, he might have even come back to the firm. He might work there now. Anyway, one of the former partners of this firm, his name is Mark Pomerantz. He used to work at that firm, and he quit so that he could go work for the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. He was one of the people that was prosecuting Trump in the New York case right before Trump was elected, right? So he gets elected. You got one of the lead prosecutors on this case that was a partner at this firm, and he does that executive. It was like a couple of them, all the ones that the Manhattan I think he worked on every single case that the Manhattan DA was like going after Trump for. The one where he got his fucking convictions out of, the like false business records one. They were gonna go after him for a lot of tax fraud stuff. There was some protective measures that the state did to where that wasn't able to work out. But yeah, he was prosecuting Trump on a bunch of stuff in New York, and he taught that, Trump gains executive power and uses it to attack the law firm. Now, every single case that, by the way, this is like, I read you one of the executive orders that was targeting one specific law firm. There was like 4-ish of these targeting different ones, and every single law firm that he targeted, coincidentally, had some connection to him personally. Like either a lawyer at the firm had broken off from the firm to go work for a prosecutor's office to prosecute him, or they had directly represented either Hillary or Biden in the past. Like they were those types of firms, right? Every single judge that has looked at any of these cases that have targeted law firms has like unequivocally come to the conclusion like, okay, this is unconstitutional. This is like, you can't do this. This is a Sixth Amendment violation. You can't tell the government like, oh, by the way, if any of our contractors, anyone that has a contract with us, even like builders and shit, that's the degree we're talking about. Well, if you have like a builder that's contracted to build a building for the government and they have this, and this firm represents them, we're canceling your contract. That's a Sixth Amendment violation.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack there.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I'm not really concerned with appeals to authority. The fact that experts say anything in this day and age, I can find experts that say almost every political case has experts on both sides, all Ivy League educated in most cases. Specifically,
sure, I didn't say experts said. I said the judges that were the judges in these cases. Every judge that had a case come across their desk was like, oh yeah, constitutional violation, obviously.
Yeah. Well,
if I said every legal scholar that I've seen has like agreed, then that's one thing. You'd be like, okay, well, I mean, you can find a legal scholar that goes the other way too. But we're not talking about like, we're not talking about experts. We're talking about the people that have gotten these cases on their desks.
Yeah, but like, which person would you put a precedent on? Would it be the judge or the person teaching law at Harvard, for instance, right? So all I'm saying is that some of this stuff, well, number one, let me. There, you put a lot of information out there, and I'd have to like tackle each one of those pieces. The executive order laid out like, I don't know, you named off probably 15 or 20 provisions. But I would have to I'd have to research this a little bit more because um, it certainly would look like it's the case that he's targeting these law firms. I don't know the backstory completely because you could easily say, hey, this person was involved with um, some of Trump's you know legal matters in Manhattan, and draw kind of a parallel there and say that's the rationale. But when he talks about restricting, what is it, secret or clearance, SCI clearances,
Yeah, getting rid of all the
um,
clearances. By the way,
yeah,
I'm gonna head this off. At no point am I saying that the actual action itself, like getting rid, like the president absolutely can like order someone's security clearance to be terminated. Absolutely,
well,
100%.
the question is why would that be in there, right? Like I'd have to look
Like
and see.
why would he do it?
Well,
Is that what you're asking?
well, no. What I'm saying is like haven't researched this, so I'd have to look and see were there issues with um, the sharing of classified information internally to the firm that requires a president to come in and say, hey, let's take a look at this and cause a stop right now. I don't know what the specifics are. Like this firm, like I don't understand what the genesis of this executive order is outside of your claim saying that he's targeting them because they worked on some of his legal cases in Manhattan. That might be true, but you could also have two things can be true at once. It could also be the case that there was issues with the way that they handle classified information within the firm, specifically if they have federal contractors that were leaking, you know, classified information internally to the firm. It seems like a very strong stance to take via executive order if it was just because one of the partners worked on one of the cases he was in.
I would agree with you that
You know,
is like that's like such an overreaction. If
it
yeah,
seems
just
like
like someone has pissed you off personally, so you're gonna like what you're gonna fucking you're gonna use executive authority to try to
right.
bankrupt their firm. Yeah, I would
That's
totally agree. Super strong
yeah.
reaction. The problem but that's my issue.
I know that's
Like
what
that's
I know
like
that's what your
okay,
claim is.
this is psychotic. You're using executive authority to fucking
Yeah, but
settle
you
your
know what?
personal beef.
But oftentimes when I look at this stuff in more depth, there's a lot more there than just,
I would
you know
like
what I mean?
I would like strongly like I would love nothing more than for you to like deep dive this because I already have. I would love for you to
Yeah,
I would love for you to deep dive this and then like actually we just have a convo on this topic because it's
that's
fucking
fine.
out of
That's fine.
like people like to
I
point.
wouldn't disagree. Look,
There's a lot of
I'm
finger pointing to other stuff he's done. Like this is bad, and like and some of those things are true for sure.
yeah.
I would say like this
No,
is one of the worst things that I've seen him do because it is like
yeah.
again like you don't know anything about it, so it's just whatever. So I'm not going to ask you I'm not going to ask you to put your foot down at all. Okay.
Oh no,
On
no,
this,
I wouldn't put my foot down on it
but
because I don't know. You could be 100% right,
yeah, so
but
from
I will
my
say
perspective, this is fucking nuts. It's the fucking president of the
but
United States
I will.
using his authority as the president to settle a
Yes,
beef with a fucking personal actor. That's
but
crazy behavior.
I, that's if. But hear me out though. All I'm saying is this. Let's be honest. If it's actually anti-constitutional, if it's actually a huge misstep on his part, absolutely, let's call it out. But I'm just saying that there have been plenty of cases where the truth was bent, or things were taken out of context, or so I have to be very careful because I'm happy to call people out when they do things that are wrong, but I also don't want to make mistakes. But in this specific case, I would also have to research the left and right lateral limits of his executive authority for executive orders to better understand whether or not this is within his his purview or within his authorities. Because if it's within his authorities, then you can't really argue that it's a constitutional infringement. Um,
Well, I mean
but
that's like the exact metric you would use to to analyze whether or not it was in his
that's what I'm
authority,
saying.
right? Like for
That's
instance,
all I'm
it
saying.
is
Is like
absolutely it's absolutely within the president's authority to cancel someone's security clearance. He could just say like, hey, cancel that guy. That guy's a top secret clearance. Cancel that. He shouldn't have it. He could. That's absolutely within his authority. if to determine whether or not it's a constitutional violation, you would want to. Well, it depends on what violation you think is happening. If you think that the violation is, if we're looking at some sort of like freedom of speech violation, where like maybe someone said something bad about him, and so he canceled, he canceled their security clearance in retribution, in retaliation for it. You'd need to look at the motivation. So for you to be like, oh yeah, I don't know anything about this case. I don't know any of like the underlying motivations. Then that kind of like that ruins the whole. Not ruins. Like it's not your fault that you haven't looked into this specific thing. I would suggest you do.
I'm just not.
Yeah, but so to say like it's within all of these things are technically within his authority, but it's about why. Why are you doing it? And I think it's pretty clear why he's doing it.
Yeah, no,
if you look into the case.
Like I said, I wasn't prepared. I didn't know specifically what you were going to bring up. I just saw the general claim that you made. You're destroying constitutional order, and I wanted to kind of hear more of what you're specifically talking about.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I accept that you don't know anything about this. So I'm going to take a step backwards. I'll broaden it out. Assuming that you don't want to talk about this specific case because you don't know anything about it. Totally assuming that it's fine. Take everything I just said at like face value, and just so you can see how I have arrived at this position. That's it. You don't have to agree with it. You can be like, no, I think that's not true at all. It's fine. Just so you can see how I've arrived here. Doing something like that, there's another prior you'd have to have here. For one, it wasn't just this one firm. It was, again, every single fucking law firm that he's had any sort of personal beef with. All these executive orders went out towards like all of them, right? So given that,
question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I think that it's tough, because like part of me wants to look at this and say, I I guess I would say this. I mean, you're absolutely right. If it was if you could prove that it was retribution, and these were the issue is that there's a little bit of a this is kind of a little bit of a it's kind of a strange case here, because I think most folks, well, not, I don't say most folks, I think that there was a lot of discussion about lawfare being waged against Donald Trump, um, and I'm not necessarily justifying it, but if you have folks trying to use the legal system to go after Donald Trump, like he got 32 felonies in on one of his cases, right? That's a lot of felonies. Like, if you know anyone that has felonies, 32 is a lot.
I think it was
And partially it's
34.
because, but partially it was because it was an administrative error, which should have been a misdemeanor, that had reached the statute of limitations, so they had to upcharge it to a felony in order to increase the statute of limitations. And there was a lot of
You good? Still there?
yeah, there was a lot of
You're cutting out.
pause real quick. I gotta.
Okay. I think. Are you still here?
I'm back.
You're back. So wait, hold on. I have to address this in chat. Someone said, I can't support you until I assure you're not a tanky. I'm not a tanky. I hate tankies. All right, moving on. Go ahead. Say whatever you were going to say.
Anyway, so there's a consensus, at least on the right, that there was lawfare that was engaged in. There was a lot of stuff engaged in to try to go after Donald Trump. And I'm not saying that this response is warranted, but I would want to know what the rationale is. Like I feel like oftentimes, like I said, when I dig into the details, there's a nugget of information that's like, okay, I kind of understand, but at the same time, it is unprecedented. Probably there's been a lot of unprecedented things that surround Donald Trump, and so that's kind of my only thought. But if I took you for your, if I took exactly what you said at face value, I would say that at a minimum, it's kind of an abuse of powers. Not sure how, that's probably how I would categorize it.
Okay.
Kind of like the Trump coin
Actually,
thing. Like
I don't
that's
even
kinda like
hate
you're
that
not
answer.
supposed to use your office.
Yeah, the Trump coin thing is also pretty egregious. I actually don't hate that answer because it brings me back to the original thing I was trying to dig out of you, right? Assume that everything I've told you is exactly correct. All right, just assuming that. You can do your own research after, and if I would love to have like a I've never been able to have a specific debate about this because nobody fucking knows anything about this shit. So you
Yeah,
can
I'll
look into
research
yourself.
it.
Yeah. Assume everything I've said is correct. Does my position, can you at least comprehend how I've arrived at my
Oh
position?
yeah.
You have a president who,
Well,
in my
no,
opinion, is using
yeah.
unconstitutional methods to use his power as the president to take personal revenge. That is not healthy for a constitutional republic. That will lead you normalize that leads to the destruction of everything.
No, I agree.
Okay.
I would agree, but it's not like Donald Trump's the only president to have done this. I think we've called it out in the past. We should call it out again, where these things happen. But again, like I said, we have to go back and look really carefully because, um, you know, it, what I would do if I researched this is I would look at historical cases where executive orders were used to stop to cut off security clearances. Basically, what I would do is I would use a large language model, and I do this often because a lot of these, like the Big Beautiful Bill and executive orders, there's so many of them. You have to use a large language model
Yeah,
to be able to
I
get
don't care
to.
how you do the research. You can do your research
Yeah.
however the fuck you feel like,
Well, I'm just saying.
however you feel like is necessary for you to do it.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's how I would do it.
Oh.
I would look at similar executive orders, and then I would look at, the precedents that was set, and then we could establish whether or not it's, going against the normal constitutional ways of dealing
Yeah.
with things.
Hey, if that's something you want to take the time to do, and you want to fucking come back and actually like hash this particular case, and be like, all right, let's talk about what
that
happened.
specific executive order.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would say go through. I would say go through. So I read you the one that was targeting Paul Weiss. I would say go through and
We'll just stick with that one. So
okay,
do you know
works.
What's the name? What's the executive order number?
Sure. Let me scroll down here. Am I fucking blind? Hello? I might be tripping. Okay, the executive order itself is called Addressing Risks from Paul Weiss. Let's see. Hold on.
The problem with this argument that you're making in
14237. There you go.
Okay, hold on. 14327.
237.
237. So one of the problems with pushing this forward, I would say, just in general, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying what I would think through is like, and sometimes you kind of you back yourself into a corner of like proving intentions. You know what I mean? Like the intentions of Donald Trump, which are hard to do. Like it's difficult in this kind of area because it's like, if what he's doing is not legally prohibited, then you know unless you have in writing somewhere like I'm targeting Paul Weiss' firm because he was
I would then that would be part of the debate. So that's what I'm saying. You should look into it. This is the part of the debate would be like, is this even like legally allowed? I'll just tell you. If you want to do research to like head off this argument, because it would be the argument that I would make. Almost every single provision of this executive order would be constitutionally prohibited, which is the supreme law. So yeah, it is not legally permitted.
Okay. Well,
anyway,
take your word for it.
Yeah, if you want to fucking, I would love to do just an actual convo about that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'll actually dig into it.
All right, cool. That's awesome.
Come back on. Are you on here pretty frequently?
Yeah, pretty frequently. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, well, appreciate it.
Yeah, I gotta head out. This is good timing. All right, yeah. I would, if you, anytime you want to come back and do that, fucking, if you're like, if it takes you a minute to like dig through all the info on anything,
I'll just
yeah,
message
yeah, I was gonna say, just DM me and be like, hey, I'm ready to do it. Then we'll do it.
Yeah, give me like a week.
Okay, cool.
All right.
All right, have a good one.
Thanks.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, I want to be able to like have like more specific conversations with people. So yeah, like something like that where I can be like, hey, you want to fucking debate about this topic? Let's do it. Let's go. So that'd be cool. I hope he actually does. I hope he does. I hope he comes back, and even if like if he does his research, you know, if he researches like everything about this, and then he even comes to the same conclusion that I've come to, and he just comes back just to say like, oh, I looked into it. Seems, you know, you're you know, I agree with your take on this. Like, that's fine. But hopefully he disagrees. Hopefully he does his research on it and completely disagrees, and then we can actually hash it out. I mean, that's a more preferable outcome for me. But if he does his research and then he agrees and then he comes back, like, that's fine. That's fine. Anyway, real quick, unknown. You know who subscribed during that conversation. So I wanted to point that out. You know who? Thank you for the sub. The sub goal is at 6 out of 7 now, which is fucking sick. We are at 6 out of 7 subs now. Appreciate you, you know who. And he sent 200 roses. I want to point that out as well. 200 roses and actually 200 club cheers. Or not 200, 20 club cheers and 200 roses and a sub. You know who is going fucking crazy with the support today. Holy shit. Nick, by the way, thank you for the heart me and the popular vote. Absolutely goated. Okay, anyway. Again, I mentioned it up top because I wanted you all to be very aware of how this was going to go down today. I do have to go. I got family coming into town later today, so I got to get some shit done around the house before they get here. You know how it is. Every time you got family coming in, anytime you got family coming in, it's like, got to clean the whole fucking house before they get here, so everything's nice and clean when they're, you know how it goes. Anyway, I gotta hop off. I'll be back. I don't know when we'll be back. When I'll be back. I'm not gonna like take the whole week off. Like I think they're gonna be here like all week, but I'm not gonna take the whole week off like I did last time I had family come visit. Because then we just end up so behind on content. It's just not good when that happens. So, but I don't know how often I'll be able to stream, you know, with people visiting and us doing shit. So I don't know. I'm not gonna be able to give you times on stuff. Okay, I can't do it. I can't promise you anything, but I will be we'll be back soonish. Okay, anyway, if you're not following, click the follow button so that you don't miss it when we do come back. Okay, the way you talk, you're not American. I'm more American than you could ever hope to be. You fucking, never mind, I can't get my TikTok banned. All right, I am more American than you can ever be, you fucking loser. Go do something. Serve your country, you fucking loser. All right, anyway, I'll be back sometime in the future. See you later. Bye. Why are you liberals always angry? If you're like a proud American, you like serve your country and you like are like super proud to be an American, and then someone says like, oh, you're not an American. Like, that's going to piss you off. All right? And if you can't understand that, it's because you're a fucking moron. All right, see you later. Bye. Have a good one. See you later. Bye, guys. Peace out. All right. As for the Facebook and Twitch and YouTube viewers, shit was a little bit contentious today with the TikTok stream. Most of the legal issues you have with Trump are not the issues of the general population, and only gets aroused by more pedophilic conspiracy about the separation than the separation of powers. Yeah, I know. I hate it, but I just don't know what to like. Here's the thing. You are A, correct. B, I hate that you're correct. Like, I hate that that's true. And C, I don't know what to do about it, is the problem. Like, I agree with you. It's fucking stupid, and I hate it that, like, the Epstein conspiracy is way bigger of an issue for people than, like, separation of powers issues, constitutional violations. Like, think about it. That guy that I was just talking to, like, this case to me, or these cases, there's multiple, of Trump coming into office and instantly using executive authority to attack and attempt to bankrupt and attempt to extort law firms that he has a personal grievance with. He has a personal issue with these people. And so he's trying to use his executive authority to either damage their firm or extort them, whatever he can get out of it. Like, to me, that's a fucking huge deal. Huge deal to me, okay? But nobody gives a shit about this. That guy had no idea. But if I would have asked him about the Epstein shit, he would have probably known everything about this situation. He would have known everything. Okay. He'd have known it. He would have known all of it, right? I hate that. That is everything I just laid out is true. And I hate it, but I don't know. I don't know what the fuck to do about it. I don't know. We need like a complete like reformation of like the media ecosystem. But the problem is, yeah, you're just correct in that. Like the thing is, like the media is going to mostly focus on the things that get views, that that people want to see. They get clicks, they get people watching the news, right? That's what the media is going to focus on, because that's the economic incentive, right? And as long as it remains the case that people care more about the conspiracy theory type bullshit than they do like actual legal issues or actual like moral issues, not that the Epstein stuff wouldn't be an actual moral issue. Like if you're running cover for a fucking pedophile, I would call that a big moral issue. But these legal like issues, the population doesn't give a fuck, and so the media's not going to care. Or I mean, maybe the reporters themselves care, but they're not going to cover it heavily because ain't nobody clicking on that shit, right? It sucks. I hate it, but I don't know what to do about it. I truly don't. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know. All right. Anyway, that's it. I appreciate you guys. I'll be back in the nearest future. Again, I can't really give you times and dates on when the next stream will be, but I'll be around. Okay. Join the Discord if you're not, and then I'll talk about it in there. We'll see what's going on. Okay. Have a great day, guys. See you later. Bye. See you later. Bye. Have a great rest of your day. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Have an incredible, lovely rest of your day. See you later. Bye.